I used this delicious piece of barbecue to make the best chili you've ever had. And today is the day that we solve the beans or no beans question.
Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
Let's start with the most important part of a chili con carne. It is, of course, the chili. Now what I love to use best is not chili powder out of a package. I love to use these dried chili peppers. And these have been smoked. I've got chili d'anjo and chili de gallo. Now to get these ready for our chili, I'm going to cut them open and get the seeds out, because even though I want the flavor, I don't want too much of the heat. Now the cool thing is you don't have to throw these seeds away. You can feed them to the chicken, you can blitz these up and turn them into a powder, which is going to be very sharp, and you can add this in many ways to your dish. And there it's only going to take a couple of minutes to get them nice and toasty. Once they're nice and toasty, they go into the blender. To that I'm adding 1.5 cup of high quality beef stock. Blitz it. Once I got this all blitzed up, it turned into this beautiful puree. My common sense tells me not to taste this, but I'm still waiting for it. I'm kind of scared. It's actually not that bad. Once the seeds are out, all the real heat is gone. Yeah, you're safe to test it. Oh, and by the way, it tastes freaking amazing. This is way better than any chili powder you can ever add. One of the first fresh ingredients is going to be white French onions. I've got 2 of these. I'm going to peel them and slice them up. I'm going to do the same for 2 red onions. And of course we gotta have some garlic. Now you can add loads and loads more, but I'm going to go for 2 cloves of garlic. And because I like some natural sweetness in my chili, I'm going to chop up a whole carrot. You can't forget about the red bell pepper, the green bell pepper. And then, once you're all prepared, you're going to get your Scottsburg cast iron pan out, warm it up, put a little bit of beef tallow in, and start with sauteing the red and white onions and the garlic. Now, the order in which the ingredients go in is super important with chili. It's going to make your chili extremely good or just mediocre. And the reason that I'm starting with the onions, because you really want them to break down a little bit, turn soft, but also turn properly sweet. And the next ingredient that I need sweetened is this tomato paste. And with tomato paste, it's also very important to sweeten it. If you leave it, if you don't cook it properly, if you don't fry it, it stays a little bit bitter and sour. But once you start frying this, it turns super sweet and tasty. For seasoning, of course, I'm going to be using some PitmasterX seasoning. I'm going to put in a tablespoon of PitmasterX's Texas barbecue rub and about a tablespoon of the PitmasterX classic barbecue rub. I want to toast the seasoning, I want to toast the tomatoes, I want to get them nice and sweet, and that means I'm going to let it stay in there until all of the moisture is evaporated. And once you have a nice thick paste like this, it's time to get the pan off the heat. Now I'm going to get another cast iron pan out, in which I'm going to melt even more beef tallow. I store my beef tallow in the fridge, but oh man, because we're gonna brown some minced beef. Now, my idea about chili con carne is that it's meant to be meat with chilies, or chilies with meat. But that means we gotta put in a lot of meat. It's not really true, but that's the way I feel about it. And I'm browning the minced meat in another pan because I want it to be really nice and brown. Now, if I would just add it to the tomatoes and the onions, it would be cooked, but it would never be nice and brown and crunchy and crispy. I want it to be nice and brown like this, because this is caramelized. And that means if I put it in my chili, it's going to make my chili taste better. It's all about adding flavor every step of the way. Time to add my carrots, the bell peppers, there we go. Let those vegetables stir fry a little bit. We already added tomato puree, which is a condensed tomato flavor. The next step is adding moisture and making a sauce. First I'm going to put in 2 cans of tomato pulp, and I'm going to follow that up with diced tomatoes. 1, you're going to have that velvety soft tomato. 2 is you're going to have that whole tomato experience. You're going to have those cubes. You're going to have that texture that you like so much in your chili. Time to add the chilies and beef stock. Look at that. Wow, what a difference that's going to make for your chili. Look at the dark brown consistency. It turned from a ragu into a chili instantly. Dark brown color, velvety soft. I put a little bit of water to rinse the chili bowl. because I want to add some water to this chili. Not that I don't like the consistency, but I'm going to cook this for a long time. And some of that moisture is going to evaporate. To let this simmer, I'm going to fire up my Kamado Joe Big Joe. I'm going to put some charcoal in, light up a fire starter. I'm going to let it simmer for at least 4 hours. This took a while, but now it is ready. The ultimate, I can definitely say this is a really good chili. What I want to see when I make chili is when I'm cooking it for about 4 to 6 hours, I want it to become like an Italian sauce, like a ragu, where they take the minced meat and cook it for so long that the meat kind of disintegrates. It's still there, but it disintegrates and it becomes very soft, and there's just this light texture. And that is what happened to our chili. Look at that. Now, of course, I want to do the final taste test and make sure that I got the flavor profile right. That is good. That tastes absolutely freaking amazing. But I think it can just be a little bit better with some more salt. I'm going to add about half a tablespoon of salt. That will help boost the flavors more. I don't want you to be able to taste the salt, but I definitely want the flavors to be at its maximum. And now our chili is ready, but I'm not done yet. Because 8 hours ago, I took this pork belly and I took off the skin, seasoned it, put it in the wireless thermometer, then put it on the Kamado Joe Connected Joe and let it smoke until it hit a core temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. And while I was waiting, I made some sweet apple barbecue sauce. Out of a cup of ketchup, a quarter cup of apple juice, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, half a tablespoon of ground black pepper, a tablespoon of PitmasterX's classic barbecue rub, a tablespoon of honey, 3 tablespoons of sugar. And when I finally got the notification from my meter thermometer that the core temperature of my pork belly was 70 degrees Celsius, I knew it was time to take it off, put it on some aluminum foil, scoop on 3 tablespoons of that sweet apple barbecue sauce, brush it on, wrap it up, put it back on the barbecue, raise the smoking temperature up to 140 degrees Celsius, and then I just let it sit there until it hit a core temperature of 92 degrees Celsius. Look at that beauty. You can slice through it like butter. I got my beautiful smoke ring, and this thing tastes absolutely freaking delicious. Now, of course, if you're talking about chili, you're also talking about beans. And I made this community post on our YouTube channel debating if you should have or not have beans in your chili. What I didn't know was I was about to start a war about this topic. There were some strong feelings, but what I've learned that if you're making a Texan chili, there are no beans. No beans. No negotiating, nothing. But there are a lot of people that do like beans in their chili. So you could have beans. And I did. I mean, I took some beans, put them in some water to soak them overnight. Then I boiled them for an hour and they were ready. But I decided not to go to civil war and just put the beans on the side. Because if you're like me and you want some beans in your chili, you can always put them in for your own plate. So I think it's a good compromise to serve the beans on the side. Now, look what we have here. Beautiful pork belly. And then in goes the chili. And optional some fresh grated cheddar cheese. If you like some more heat, you can have some pickled jalapenos. Because I think that the heat is enough in this one, I'm just adding some pickles. Look at that. Here we have my way of making a delicious chili bowl. Oh, it's like a kid in a candy store. Wintertime chili, nothing better to warm you up. There we go. That is freaking delicious. And then for the dip, the pork belly to go with it. Wow, that is really good. You know, even if you have the smoked peppers, the smoked meat is different. It hits you in a different way. It's just so much more. It's just like the ultimate saltine to go with your chili. Now that's how I like my chili. I know it's a little bit political correct with adding the beans later on, but I do like beans. Somebody else might not like beans, but I'd love to know how you would make your chili and how you would make it different from mine. But hey, if you're looking for a recipe, it's on our website. See you guys next time. I got a bowl of chili.